Welcome to your port day in Cozumel. We have been to Cozumel several times, four at least that we can think of, and we might have been there more, but those are the four that I'm going to tell you about the different excursions that we did. And you can see this picture was from 2018, and we are at not the port that we were last time, so we had a little bit of travel getting into the city, but I'm going to tell you about all that good stuff. So I'm going to tell you what it takes to have a great day in Cozumel. If you're new to the channel, Cruise Port Captain, me and my husband, we've been cruising for over 20 years, and we created this channel because it is information we couldn't find anywhere else. Well, at least easily. So we hope with our tips, tricks, and what we did, you can have a great and cost-effective time during any of the ports that we discuss. So grab your margarita and let's do some planning for a great day. So first thing is just getting off the ship. So Mexico immigration is very easy. There's nobody checking your information. And you can see where the arrow is pointing. That is where, if you're taking a shore excursion, your ship, usually they're going to ask you to get off the ship and meet them at the pier. So this is the dock that is closest to Cozumel Square. The first picture you saw of with us in front of the two ships, that's a little bit further, so that takes a short taxi ride to get there. And as you walk across the ship, you're going to have to make your way through this little, I call it like a Disneyland merchandise area where you just couldn't get off the ship and go right to the street. You had to make your way through this maze of shops and to finally make it onto the street to get to whatever you were going to do. But it was easy. It took about 5 minutes. It was just kind of unexpected that that's what we were going to have to do. And you can see here, these are the typical shops that are a part of any kind of Mexican excursion or shopping area. And then, of course, if you haven't had your Starbucks hit in a couple of days, there were several Starbucks around. Like our ship, we were on the MSC seashore last time. They didn't have Starbucks on the ship. So if you need your hit, there it is. And that you can see right away that we are about to hit the street. Took no more than 5 minutes, but it is a little bit of walking. The easiest thing to do is to simply just walk along the boulevard. Now, we've been, the first time we went, we figured it was 2003, and we don't even have any digital pictures of that anymore. So I'm going to try to put up one like a hard copy. They can kind of see it. Because you know what? The boulevard looks exactly the same as it did then. So that's really the easiest thing to do is make your way through that shopping village and head to the town square. There's lots of nice shopping that you can do there. I'm going to show you another picture. So I collect Hard Rock glasses, and this is me in 2003 picking up my Hard Rock glass, which it said it was the smallest Hard Rock in the world at the time. I don't know. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But it is a really delightful day just to walk around. And you can see this is the main square. So you can see there's all kinds of kiosk there, all kinds of shopping. There's a little cathedral, a little church. So it's a great, easy way to make your way off the ship. If you do this option, time is really on your side because most of the port days that we've been there for at least 8 hours. So this, most people aren't going to take more than 4 or 5 hours to do this. Just as always, anytime you're in the Caribbean, you want to be sure, or at least where the weather is warm, you want to be sure that you have your sunscreen with you and a little bottle of water. Don't need to bring a gallon of water with you, but you do want to have something with you just in case you get a little parched. And another tip to keep you healthy while you're in Mexico. So, unlike kind of American pharmacies, if you need something, you can go right to a pharmacy and they can probably prescribe something for you. You can see there in the picture, Ozempic has made its way to Mexico. You can even buy it there. Not saying anything. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not telling you what to do. But like if you have a headache, you're getting some kind of sickness and you haven't been able to get help on the ship or you weren't sure, pharmacy, usually they're English speaking. We've always had an easy time getting help when we needed it. And you can see it's right on the boulevard. So that's also, regardless what excursion you do, that's a great way to get help if you need it. So, our next option is what you can do. As you can imagine, Cozumel's a gorgeous island in the Gulf of Mexico. So, you can simply have a great day at the beach. And that's what we did. It took a taxi. So, this is one time we went with my in laws from Europe. So, if we think it took us about, it was only 1.5 miles, and it was all four of us getting into a tiny taxi. You can see one in the picture. So, it took us to a beach area, and at this area, we could get chairs. You're going to see next, right? So we rented some chairs, which was great. So we didn't have to, worry about finding a space. And then there was also a bar there, so that made it easy to get alcoholic drinks, non-alcoholic drinks, and a little bit something to eat. So really a fantastic overall beach day, easy peasy lemon squeezy if that's what you like to do. And I have a fun picture here of my father-in-law, Hank. Hank's no longer with us, but boy, did he love the sun, and he loved snorkeling. So that is really an easy day in Cozumel if you just want to get off the ship, check with a local tour operator or a taxi, and just tell them drop me off at the nearest beach. You can certainly take shore excursions. We've never taken a shore excursion in Cozumel. We've always had a really easy time getting around, and that's going to be more important in just a second. But that's a great way to spend a day when the weather's beautiful and you just want to get some sun. So this is where it gets a little more complicated, but it's certainly easy to do. And they're more than likely the ship's going to offer excursions for you to go to the mainland. So again, Cozumel's an island, and you have to take a free floating vessel from Cozumel to get to the mainland of Playa del Carmen. And it's easy to do, but it does require a little bit of logistics and a little bit of timing. The first thing you want to realize is how much time do you have? Like I said earlier, you usually have 6 to 8 hours to get to do whatever you're going to do for the day. In that time, it's easy to get over to Playa del Carmen and back. But it will take you from getting to the ship to the ferry office. And from the ferry port, then it takes about another half hour to get to the mainland. But I wanted to show you the pictures here to see, like, it's pretty easy to see that, you're going to go to the ferry terminal. You can either walk there. It's easy to see the ferry terminal from the different ships. I meant to include that picture, but I did not. You can see they leave often. There are three different ferry companies that are there. We only bought one-way tickets because there's so many. You don't need to do a round trip ticket, because if you do a round trip ticket, then you're tied to time. They come so often that we took one company going over, and we took one company coming back. So you can see here, the next one was leaving at 9:30. So we bought our tickets. We used a US credit card, and I even have the receipt. I don't know if you can see it. And I don't know if it's coming up there a little bit. But to give you an idea of pricing, this was in February of 2025, and it was $32 one way for two people, right? So $60 round trip for both of us. You purchase your ticket, we walked right on board. There were really easy signs to get there. And like I said, the trip took about 30 minutes. Now, what the next video is that I'm not going to talk over because there's some nice music playing is I want you to look at how volatile the seas are. These are free floating vessels, and it can really be choppy out there. When we took it last time, somebody did get sick. So if you are seasick prone, it may not be the excursion for you. But I want you to look at the horizons of the waves so you can see how much the ship is actually moving. We want you to be safe, we want you to be healthy, and we want you to be aware. So check it out. And once you make it over to Playa del Carmen, it is another gorgeous boulevard. It's another warm day. So you again always have that water and sunscreen with you. I am very lucky and that I have a friend who lives in Mexico, and this is me and her floating down the boulevard in Playa del Carmen. But it gives you an idea of what the area looks like. Lots of shopping, lots of great things to do. We had a lovely lunch at one of the restaurants that just caught up. And the husband ran around while me and my friend Elizabeth were, mi amiga, we were catching up. So just to see what it looks like, give you a flavor. You can see what we're wearing. This is February, so you want to be sure that you've got the linens on, the bigger clothes so it's not sticky, and have that water with you, or be sure you're going to buy it. You can buy it anywhere, but just to be sure, like it's going to be a great day of just easy shopping. And and to give you a sense of what the beach looks like, this is on the Playa del Carmen side. Again, gorgeous. You can see all the resorts in the background. So that's another way if you want to have a more extravagant beach day is take the ferry over and then just go to the beach right there. And you can see in the background is the huge arch over to the left. Lots of pictures are made there. We made them too. And again, I forgot them too. So maybe for another video. But Playa del Carmen is also a great way to spend the day in Cozumel if you've already been on Cozumel and you want to explore a little bit further. If you're into history or you are into architecture, one of the other big things to do in this area of Mexico is to see Tulum, which is one of the ruins in the area. You can do it solo. So, of course, the ship is going to offer excursions. We tend to not do short excursions to something like this because we try to go early, so we miss it. We get there before the short excursions get there. Because you saw in that first video, it's so peaceful, it's so quiet, it's so lovely. But then you can see behind the husband there is a lot of people already there. And then when a short excursions, the buses finally get there, you're adding a couple of more hundred people onto the site. So that is why we try to do it ourselves. So logistically, how to do this is you're going to repeat what you did to get to Playa del Carmen. You're going to leave the ship, get to the ferry, and buy the closest ticket you can to the cross to the mainland, because Tulum is on the mainland. And then when you get to the other side of Playa del Carmen, then you're going to talk to a tour operator there. They're waiting on both sides of the ferry to help people. So we negotiated with somebody there and got a price we liked. And then it's about a 45-minute to an hour drive to Tulum itself. So this is going to be a day that the timing is important because worst case scenario, each way roughly 2 hours. But we spent about 2 hours there. So it's doable for sure. And why we try to do this stuff on our own is that we just sometimes we don't enjoy the excursions, because they only let you at the site for a shorter amount of time because they're also taking you to a restaurant and they're taking you to a shopping excursion. We usually like to just go to the historic place and then do our time there and move on. So that's how you do it. I'm going to repeat that again before we head off, but I just wanted to show you some more pictures of Tulum so you get an idea. Mobility can be a challenge. You can see that it is gravel. I'm going to go from the pictures from top left around. So you can see like the gravel area. It was very hot this day, and I also think we were here in the fall. That's my friend Brian in the back. He went with us, so it's great to have him because we have a photographer with us. Um, and you can get a sense of what the ruins look like. Typical ruins. Oh, my picture is covering up some of the iguanas, but there's iguanas everywhere, so that can be a startling if you haven't seen those before. The bottom right picture, you can see a little bit more from the foreground. This, I believe, was from the parking lot. So get a sense of what you're seeing. And like most historical grounds, there's a lot of imagination required because they are ruins, and there's always that fine line with historical things of, what do you build up, what do you leave, and what do you keep going. So and then the last picture in the bottom corners, you can also get a sense of what the gravel looks like. I think this was early because it got much crowded later on. Because not only is the ship getting there, but there could be multiple ships, right? So there could be multiple tours coming in. Also, the resort people are coming too later in the day. So keep that in mind. Tulum was worth it, definitely, and you can do it yourself. And I'll just go over one more time how to do it yourself. Is you're going to get off the ship. You're going to get your way to the ferry as soon as you can to get to Playa del Carmen. Remember, that takes about a half hour to get over there once you're on the ferry. Then you're going to talk to a tour provider or a taxi driver when you're at Playa del Carmen and make your arrangements. Go to Tulum and reverse it. Something too is you may think, well, what about if it gets canceled? If the ship cancels it, then you're not going anyway because it probably just means the seas are too rough for anyone to make their way across the bay. So, again, ferry to Playa del Carmen, get your transportation to Tulum and reverse it to come back. And you should have plenty of time. And we highly encourage you to do that. So we hope all of this was helpful for your time in Mexico at Cozumel. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. We're happy to share what we can, what we know, and we just want you to have a good time. So adios and have a wonderful time in Cozumel.